Hello, my amazing fourth graders. It's Mr. Torbain here for lesson 7.7. Here is your objective. Your objective is I will add and subtract mixed numbers. So at the beginning of this chapter, you learned how to add and subtract fractions. In a previous lesson, you learned how to rename fractions and mixed numbers. So we're going to be building on those skills so that way we can add and subtract mixed numbers. Let's review what a mixed number is. Remember, a mixed number is a number that has a whole number and a fraction. So we've looked at the example 2 and 2/5 in the past. There are two wholes, that's your whole number, and then the fraction is 2/5. So how do we add mixed numbers? How do we add 2 and 2/5 plus 2 and 2/5? Just like when we add numbers regularly that have more than one digit or are multi-digit, we begin with the smallest place value. Fractions are smaller than whole numbers, so we're going to start with our fractions. We add 2/5 plus 2/5, and you get 4/5. Then we move to the next place value. Well, we have our whole numbers. 2 plus 2 is 4. And that's how you add mixed numbers without regrouping. Let's take a look at these examples. We have 5 and 2/7 plus 6 and 3/7. You should remember that you start with the smallest place value. So we're going to add the fractions first. 2/7 plus 3/7 is 5/7. Do you know what we do next? Well, we add the whole number. So we'll add 5 plus 6, and we get the sum of 11. All right. Hopefully by now you're getting the hang of this and you know how to do the next one. Let's add 3 and 8/12 plus 2 and 3/12. First thing we need to do is we need to add our fractions. So 8/12 plus 3/12 gives us 11/12. Next, we add our whole number. So we have 3 plus 2, which gives us 5. So the sum of 3 and 8/12 plus 2 and 3/12 is 5 and 11/12. Whew, that's a lot of 12s. Examples were nice and pretty. But what do you notice that is different about this equation? This one's going to be a little bit trickier, but I know that you're smart enough to get the hang of it. So we have 5 and 3/4 plus 1 and 3/4. Maybe you notice that when you add 3/4 plus 3/4, you get an improper fraction, 6/4. Okay? Hopefully that gets your brain going. Maybe you can make an inference on what we're going to do. Think about what we did whenever we added multi-digit numbers and we had something that was bigger than this place value. So when we added 9 plus 2 and we got 11, what do we do? Well, anyways, let's go ahead and next continue adding our whole numbers. So 5 plus 1 is 6. Now 6 and 6/4, whoa. That's a whole number plus an improper fraction. That's not a mixed number. A mixed number has a whole number and a fraction. So what we need to do is we need to take this 6/4 and we need to break it apart. We are going to make it into one whole plus 2/4. If you're not sure how to do that, go back to the previous video on how you can rename improper fractions to mixed numbers. So 1 and 2/4 is the same as 6/4. And don't forget, you need to add it to your whole. So 6 plus 1 plus 2/4. When you add 6 plus 1, you get 7 plus 2/4 is 7 and 2/4. So the sum of 5 and 3/4 plus 1 and 3/4, it is not 6 and 6/4, it is 7 and 2/4. As always, let's take a look at an example or two from your GoMath workbook. I am on page 424. The instructions read, write the sum as a mixed number with the fractional part less than 1. So that just means not to have a mixed number with an improper fraction. Example number 1 has 1 and 1/6 plus 3 and 3/6. So remember, in the way that I just taught you, we're going to go just like we would if we were adding 16 plus 36. We're going to start in the smallest place value. So we'll add the fractions first. We have 1/6 plus 3/6. 1/6 plus 3/6 is 4/6. Next, we're going to add the whole numbers. 1 plus 3. And 1 plus 3 is 4. Then what we can do is we can go ahead and rewrite those, make sure that it is a mixed number. And we have 4 and 4/6. So 1 and 1/6 plus 3 and 3/6 gives me a sum of 4 and 4/6. All right, that one was nice and pretty. Number 2, you might already notice, not going to be as pretty. But we're going to do it the same way. First, we're going to add our fractions. So 1 and 4/5 plus 7 and 2/5. Let's add 4/5 plus 2/5 first. And we get 6/5. Next, let's add our whole numbers. 1 plus 7 is 8. All right, I'm done. Hopefully, you noticed I'm not done. Because we want to make sure that our fractional part is less than 1. This right here is an improper fraction. That numerator is greater than the denominator. It is not less than 1. So we need to split that up. We'll take this 8 and we'll add it into 6/5. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of mental math. Is 5/5 plus 1 more fifth. So 5 plus 1 is 6. Keep your denominator the same. If you're confused on that, make sure that you go back to part 2 of lesson 7.6. So then, once I do that, I know that this is 1 whole. So it's going to be 8 plus 1 plus 1/5. 8 plus 1 is 9. Plus 1/5 is 9 and 1/5. So 1/4 plus 1 and 4/5, plus 7 and 2/5 is equal to 9 and 1/5. You are doing great, fourth graders. Now, since we've already understood how we can add mixed numbers and find a sum, now let's subtract to find the difference. I'm on page 425, and let's just take a look at example number 4. In the next lesson, you'll have more time to practice subtraction, so we'll only take a look at one example here. So we find the difference of 3 and 7/12 minus 2 and 5/12. We subtract or find the difference the same way we did whenever we added. We're going to start with our smallest place value first with our fractions. We take 7/12 minus 5/12. 7/12 minus 5/12 is 2/12. Next, we move to our whole numbers. So we have 3 minus 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. So 3 and 7/12 minus 2 and 5/12 is 1 and 2/12. That's it for lesson 7.7, where you were adding mixed numbers to find the sum, and you are subtracting mixed numbers to find the difference. Have an amazing Osprey day. Osprey, lead the way.